listening to this podcast right now. Do you want to hear a fucking podcast about anything and everything? Yeah. Like movies, music, television, and more?
Oh my god.
Well, you've come to the right place. Yes. Subscribe to Journey into Comics Network, and you get Podcastrophe, hosted by me, Dick. Why not throw a couple bucks to the Patreon? It's your choice. Yeah. This is a Podcastrophe.
That sounds so awesome.
The following
is a journey into comics.
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 Network.
Production.
This is a tasty burger.
You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
Do you want some coffee, Mr. Tully?
Do I? Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
Is butter a carb? Will you stop eating?
We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups. Candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Foodies Watching Movies. I'm your host Nate. Today, as always, joined by Veronica. How's it going?
Hey Nate.
What's up?
Oh, not much.
Also joining us, as always, Poor Boy, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys doing? It's good to be back.
Good.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. It's been a while.
You took one off.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're our odd numbers guy.
I know.
1 and 3, and then maybe you'll be off for 4, but probably not.
We'll see how this
then
goes.
5, and then
yeah,
that'd be a really weird,
I'm an every other.
You're like, that's just your continuity, is that you just show up on the odds.
Yeah.
Never the evens, always the odds. Last time we were on, we had Brando on.
Yeah, that was fun.
We did 89 Batman, and it was a really good experience. And I think today we decided we were going to try a different kind of formula for our show. Usually we have a movie on while we're talking. Today we do have a movie on, but it's just background noise.
Well, yeah, we decided to put on the first Addams Family.
It is like
since
Halloween
it's Halloween.
time.
Happy Halloween, everybody!
I hope this is out before Halloween's over. I'll have to rush this to Brandon by tomorrow.
Oh, well,
shit.
Well,
retrospectively Halloween.
Yeah.
Right? So today we got a bunch of different things to talk about involving Halloween.
Yeah.
Food related stuff. We watched a film as a part of the formula before we came on, so it's something you haven't seen, AP, and now you're going to be able to speak on that.
Oh, yeah.
Where do we start today?
Well, do you want to just go ahead and talk about what we just watched, since you were just talking about it?
I want to save it. It's like kind of the main segment of the show, obviously.
Okay, well, do you want to talk about anything, like the new shows that we've seen? Anything new that we want to talk about?
Have you seen anything recently?
Yeah.
The most recent movie I saw was The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
I was told that was surprisingly good, but I haven't seen it.
It was really good. Like, it was an interesting combination film between, like, A Beautiful Mind meets, like... Oh, I can't even think of a comparison. But it's like A Beautiful Mind meets, like, James Bond.
And that's Ben Affleck, right?
Yeah. Who's the buffest accountant I've ever seen.
Well, he was also being Batman at that time, so no choice.
And his chemistry with Anna Kendrick makes you hope for she could come in as a Cara Kelly Robin would be pretty awesome.
Ooh.
Or Carrie Kelly.
I don't know what it is about Anna Kendrick, but she just bugs me sometimes. Like, I want to love her, I really do, but she just kind of gets on my nerves.
She rubs you the wrong way?
Sometimes. I don't know what it is about her.
Never rub another man's rhubarb.
What?
89 Batman.
My God.
Yeah. That's Nicholson.
Deep cuts.
Yeah.
Of course, the deep cut. So you saw The Accountant recently.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been recommending everyone who's asked about a movie that's coming out.
What would your rating be?
Ooh.
Did you see this in theaters?
I did.
Okay.
So it's still really new. It was a
big... It's still in theaters.
It's out in the big theater, which was... I would... I'd go probably 6 or 7 pizza slices.
Wow, that's strong.
Yeah,
that's a solid pizza.
I couldn't find... I'd have to watch it again and really pull out some faults with it. It's even got the new Punisher in it, John
Bernthal.
Man, was he ever good.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that earlier, about Punisher.
Yeah.
And how we're excited for the new Netflix show. But we have a ton of stuff to catch up on. We haven't watched Jessica Jones, and we haven't watched Luke Cage.
They're all so good.
There's too many good things.
I know, we
It's so
started
hard.
Jessica Jones,
it's such a hard
but
time to be a nerd because there's too much.
There's movies,
Yeah.
the TV shows.
Yeah, and then we've got
it's-
The Flash, and we've got Arrow, and Legends, and all of these great
Supergirl.
shows.
If you want to watch it
Gotham.
live, you control your whole week. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday. And you got Netflix on week. It's just
And
Yeah.
then you've also got
You're
The Walking
covered.
Dead on Sundays, Game of Thrones on Sundays, Doctor Who's on Saturdays.
yeah. You could
I mean,
your TV could own your whole week if,
If
you were
don't have a
committed.
schedule for how to watch all that, it
Right.
just falls apart. And to get behind on a lot of it, which we are right now,
Yeah, we're a little behind
it's
on
gonna be
our shows, our
we're
stories.
gonna have to power through the stories. You know, maybe today we'll after this podcast.
Yeah, maybe we'll
watch
catch up on The
7 or 8
Flash.
different episodes we've got to watch. Have you seen anything recently, movie wise?
Have I? Oh,
It's
I
weird
would have
asking
to
you that because I
think.
feel like I know the answer is no, but
Well, I haven't seen anything new, really.
But I mean, have you even seen anything like, let's say, on Netflix or Hulu that's something you haven't seen before that you on your own time watched?
No. I mean, I have a little child who's turning 3 next week, and we've got this band that we're doing, and we've got a lot of stuff going on. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to watch anything. Sarah and I watched American Psycho the other day, and I would definitely say that that's worth watching around Halloween.
Okay, I like that. I still, I know that you're shocked, but I haven't seen that.
I cannot believe that you've never seen American Psycho.
I know, it's just...
Should we talk about the realization what you had today about realizing about Matt Smith?
Oh my God! Yes. So we were sitting around the table earlier, and we were talking about American Psycho and how we opened with it at our show last night because we're doing a Misfits tribute band on pianos and stuff, and we decided to do American Psycho, and we had just watched this movie like last week or so, and so it was still fresh in our brains, and then we were just innocently scrolling on Facebook and saw that Matt Smith was from Doctor Who, was on the Broadway musical of American Psycho. And we couldn't find any videos of it, but the pictures were very telling, and it was really cool looking.
Yeah, I think he would make a great...
He would make a great
better
Patrick
than Christian
Bateman.
Bale character.
No, I don't know. He was perfect. I feel like that movie is the perfect portrait of, like, a psychopath,
You know what's really weird is I have, like, a big, like... I wouldn't even call it hatred. It's just, like... I don't get how Christian Bale is successful.
Oh my
I
God.
hate him as an actor. I think he's
Rude.
been terrible in everything.
Did you see
Wow.
I mean, maybe that's
And
a
you
little-
loved
Did you see that
the
movie he was
Batman
in,
movies.
The Big Short?
I haven't seen it yet.
That was probably the least favorite role for him in a movie, I think. It just didn't fit him, but it was still a good movie otherwise.
See, Nate, I'm going to have to disagree with you because I've seen him in a lot of movies where he was just, like, stellar. Like, he was in that movie, The Machinist, where he lost, like, a metric ton of weight, eating, like, tree bark for, like, a year or something. He was really, like, I think maybe you don't like that he's just so method.
No,
Because The Prestige was really good.
Oh, that
American
was good.
Hustle was really good.
No,
Well, it was okay, but he was good in it.
I think that it comes down to I don't like his face.
Oh my God!
Like, maybe that's really
Wow,
vain of me, but I
that's so
genuinely don't
judgmental
like
of
Christian
you.
Bale's face.
You don't like his underbite?
I don't. There's something about it. I just don't like it, and I think he made for a shitty Batman. I know people are gonna say,
Wow.
"What? No way." Batman was amazing when he was in that movie, not because of Batman, but because of the fucking villains they used. They used Scarecrow, never been done before on the big
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
They used an amazing Heath Ledger Joker, never been done again like that. Never will be done again like that.
Those movies would be good to watch around Halloween too.
True.
Those are good
They were
Halloween
kinda scary.
movies.
And then they, fucked up royally and did Bane, and it was bad.
You just hate Tom Hardy. You just hate on
Bane
everybody.
Connery.
You're just hating on everybody today.
I embrace the dark.
It was a
Batman.
better Bane than in the...
That's true. Kind of true. He was a lot more visceral. I agree with that, but
Not just full of green
He was
liquid
like
and...
Hulk smash.
yeah, I don't like Christian Bale. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what were we talking about?
We were talking about recent things.
We were talking about
What
American
what have
Psycho.
you-
Yeah.
What have you seen recently?
Yeah, Nate.
Well, as you guys know, when it comes down to like watching movies, usually I've kind of like narrowed it down to like some people just like westerns. I really just like, for the most part, like comic book movies, obviously. But if I'm not watching a comic book movie, where do I go? How do I escape?
Yeah.
That kind of a thing, because that's so fanciful. I love documentaries, you know. So I recently watched Man vs. Snake. It's a documentary on Netflix. You can watch it right now. It's about this guy with the worst name ever, because his name is Tim McVeigh. Not the guy that
you were telling me about this
Not the guy
movie.
that did the Oklahoma City bombings, but this kid that in 1983 set the world record. He was the first person to ever reach 1 billion points in this game called Nibbler. Now, Nibbler is this like essentially like the Nokia phone game Snake, but it's a patterned level, kind of like let's say Pac-Man. But the whole thing is you can't hit your own tail. The game is extraordinarily easy once you start the patterns, but then it gets faster and faster and faster and faster, and you get longer and longer and longer and longer. And what happens is you have to marathon this game. It's a marathon game. You have to play for up to at least 40 hours to get 1 billion points without stopping.
Right.
And the only thing you can do is if you have to like take a pee break or you need to eat some food, you literally have to walk away from the machine and just hope you have enough lives to get through your break.
Wow.
Which you can easily build up a lot of lives. It's easy in the game to get upwards of 100. Well, he's 40 now. This kid who set the billion is 40, and he's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna break my own record. And then he finds out that someone in Italy has claimed that they broke the record 6 months after he was anointed champion. So he's lived his whole life thinking he's the greatest on Nibbler, and someone else has been also saying
Claiming
the same thing,
that
claiming
they
the
were-
title.
yeah.
That dude who beat his record didn't want to have anything to do with it. But some other guy was like, oh, man, we're cool. We're good friends. Why don't we just both go to see who can do the 1 billion point challenge in Nibbler, and then whoever has the highest high score, wins. Hopefully we can beat your original record, which was nominal after 1 billion. It was like 1,000,2040 or something was the final tally. But yeah, they go for it, and the story just unfolds. It's very interesting to see this thing play out and how it physically just destroys these people. They talk about when you're at your 36th hour with no sleep, it's like
start
having an
hallucinating.
LSD trip. So imagine playing a video game at hour 36 and
gosh.
having an LSD trip.
be
It would
super trippy.
It'd mess you up,
Especially with the way the Snake game is, which is all the...
Exactly.
Yeah, that graphic.
Exactly. And it is exactly that. So yeah, like I said, I would definitely recommend that. That's like in documentary world, I would say that's like a solid 7 pizza slices. Like, it's not like... trying to think of like a better documentary to compare.
Not everyone's going to go watch that specific documentary
first. Yeah, correct. I wouldn't recommend that to you. Like, let's say I would recommend the Barkley Marathons, which another documentary we could talk about and unpack on a different podcast. Barkley Marathons is like a 9 pizza slice solid, telling thing that's really awesome. This is more of like a fun, mostly lighthearted thing. If you saw King of Kong, Billy Mitchell's in it, so you kind of can recognize some of the characters in the cast from this film. Yeah, so that's what I've been watching. Pretty much, that's it. You
like to watch a lot of those intense documentaries. I don't like watching that just because I get like so into it that it gives me anxiety.
Hold on. How do you mean intense, though?
Well, weren't you telling me about something called like Into the Void or something like that?
Okay, hold on. Oh, no, you're talking about Touching the Void.
Whatever, I don't know.
So Touching the Void is this awesome documentary.
He's told me about this like 10
really fast
times.
In 1984, these two guys decided that they were going to climb this really steep ice mountain in like the Alps, I think, or don't quote me on where it is. But I think it's in India, maybe. So they climb it successfully. Everything's cool. They get to the top. They're the first people to ever do it. They're heading back down. And one of the dudes breaks his leg. Well, in ice climbing, if you break your leg, your partner is told to leave you there to die. Like there's because you physically can't risk your own life getting off the mountain,
right,
for another person because you'll both die. And then what's the point,
Cold-blooded.
So this guy takes it upon himself to save his buddy's life, and then shit just gets worse and worse for them as it progresses. And it has a really beautiful ending, like for real. But the documentary is really cool because it's told from I'm giving you an interview perspective, but then they do a really, really great job of supercutting reenactment to where it feels like you're witnessing those guys actually do the thing, and it gets intense. It's a fucking, you're right. Touching the Void is an intense documentary. But Man vs. Snake is not. So, it is Halloween, as we said.
Yeah.
I got to ask you guys, start with AP first. If you could give a top 5 favorite horror movies or scary movies or
movies to watch at Halloween.
Movies to watch during Halloween, however you want to characterize it, movies that you enjoy around this time of year. What do you need? Oh, you need a pencil.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
I want to make my little list while he's talking.
She's making, yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. There's one off the bat that's not really, I actually watched it 2 different seasons. I'm going to have to go with The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay, cool.
My son and I just watched that a couple of days ago, and he was not amused. Because he's 3.
Yeah.
It scared him a little bit, so I had to turn it off.
Alright. That would be my first one. It's lighthearted, but it still has the little...
It's a little dark and creepy.
It's taking its own fun with all the holidays, and it's always a good watch at this time of year. Just because I just watched it recently, I have to go with the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
You can never.
That movie makes me laugh so hard when he's like chasing the little blonde down the street with the giant like hands.
I don't think it's so.
What was
cheesy.
her name? Tracy or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. And he's just like
Nancy is the main character,
right?
But like it's like
and
the effects we have now.
Looking
at back then,
her.
you're like. It's like, oh my... It just looks like dudes are literally just holding and waving his arms for
now,
him.
to dive in...
Yeah, it was so funny.
You bring up That Nightmare, the original,
yeah.
Robert Englund, Wes Craven. Did you see the newer one?
Yes.
Where they kind of re-envisioned the original movie and took a lot of scenes directly from that movie. And
they modernized it. Like a lot of like the bed scene, the girl getting chased, the classroom haunting. Yeah, they took a lot of that stuff and...
Original's still better, right? I mean,
the remake might have had some better moments, they had better effects, and you can get more scared because it's not as cheesy, but it's still, you can't compete with the original.
No.
And to see a young Johnny Depp in his first actual acting role.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Very unseasoned, but still has his charm that he's carried through the next 30 years of his life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So now number 3, I think we are for you?
Yeah, 3. Just because it always makes me laugh, Freddy vs. Jason.
You know, it's really weird. I love that movie. I like the intro with Robert Englund's whole
that was
monologue.
That was his last cinematic turn.
Freddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And did they bring one of the original Jasons back? I don't know if it was the original, but it was one of the original.
Okay, so it's really weird. I actually met the guy who is known as the first Jason, Ari Lehman. He has a band called First Jason because that's kind of like his bread and butter. His 15 minutes of fame was in the first original Friday the 13th. The monster that comes out and grabs at the end was him. But like that's all he's known for. He didn't really have a good acting career or whatever. But he was at Villains Con when we did episode 100 for Journey into Comics. And I met him and talked to him, and he was like a huge Judge Dredd fan, loves comic books. He was a really interesting character. And then alternately talking about Jason, like the big boy Jason. Kane Hodder was the original Jason.
Oh, okay.
But I think Kane Hodder was the Jason for Freddy vs. Jason.
Okay. Because it's just them fighting back and forth and just the humor of them like, she's mine, you can't have her, and just the whole, it's just a fun movie.
I agree. I
was always hoping there was going to get a sequel. They kind of left it open-ended, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I always thought it would have been so neat if they would have done like Freddy vs. Jason versus Pinhead, or Freddy vs. Jason versus Michael Myers, or Freddy versus
one, like,
Jason
in
versus
space or
Chucky.
something?
That was Jason X.
Oh my god!
And Jason X's storyline was a little bit bizarre because it was like he was captured and then cryo froze to keep him from killing anymore, like in our time.
Oh my god!
And then the Earth,
it's so dumb.
And then the Earth, became no more because of pollution and everything, and the eventual heat death of our universe. Deep. But then people came back to Earth to mine and find things, and they brought the cryostasis of Jason onto their ship, and then he proceeds. We'll talk about it later, but that actually, Jason X has one of my opinion the greatest horror movie kills of all time.
I don't think I've seen Jason X.
It stands the test of time for sure. It's really weird, but so
that was 4.
4 for me. So this is my 4th pick. I have to go with the first Paranormal Activity, just because those kinds of the bumps
so
and like
scary.
the ones that just get you to, like, I jumped so many times seeing that movie.
That one's also very visceral.
My sister was like a teenager when that came out, and
just,
she watched it with my mom and had to like sleep in my mom's bed
like, you can just
for a while
see
because
it,
she was so scared. Because that movie
just
fucks
see
you up.
It happen. Like, it feels like it could easily happen. It's not one of those ones like the suspension of disbelief doesn't, like, it feels like
right, because that
you
could
can
be
just go
real.
back to your room and then it could start happening, and just the whole found camera footage is a whole that was relatively new.
I mean, it had only been done once before really well, which was Blair Witch.
Blair Witch,
right?
Same people.
Yeah,
same people
But
who did this.
And they actually filmed it in the director's house, I believe.
Yes,
that's what. Which is how they got away with using it later. They didn't have to buy a house or rent a house for it.
Right.
But yeah, it was very.
That was super scary.
Could you imagine filming that movie in your own home
and then
sleeping in it?
Like end of filming?
Yeah, because you're like, you know everything that's happening. You know,
yeah,
but still, like, all these like, you have a nightmare when I wake up and you're in that house. You're like, I need to go.
Yeah, like I need to step away from this.
Yeah. And then, I just had my 5th one. Oh, When Darkness Falls.
No,
I've never seen
I don't
that.
think I've seen When Darkness
It's
Falls.
The whole plot of the story is it's about the Tooth Fairy, which is kind of weird. So the Tooth Fairy wasn't actually not really like a great person. She does what she does, but if you see her, she will kill you.
Oh, I saw that movie. That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. So
I did not like that movie. I was not amused.
So the guy saw her when he was little, so he sleeps with all the lights on because if
the Tooth Fairy, if you see it, then she'll kill you.
She's hunting you down because she doesn't want to be seen. She's also not pretty. She has like a porcelain mask and
so this dude lives his life completely lit constantly, so there's no shadows and she can't get him.
One of the craziest,
super creepy,
which I might bring up later, but one of the craziest kills was like someone jumping from one spot to the other and just being ripped out, and it's just like taken like she flew in and just took him out. But yeah, that movie, and then like to top it off, like after I watched that movie for the first time, I went back to my bedroom, power went out. Like that would just that.
Oh my god!
Because I felt like when it came out, and I was just I was just done. I was awake. I'm not. Get the flashlight. I am not going anywhere.
You didn't run out of the room because that's my first play.
Yeah, I ran. Grand got a flashlight. That's it.
That's horrible.
But yeah, those
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It was fine.
And that's an interesting top 5. I've seen every single one of them except for the last one, which I'm now interested in checking out.
I don't want to watch that movie again, so that you can do that on your own.
Good to know. Thank you.
I definitely don't want to watch that movie again.
That's fine. Now, V, do you have a top 5?
I do. I made my little list.
Okay, sure.
So, every year around Halloween, I always watch the same movies because they're my favorites.
I feel like I can name most of them.
Do you want to take a guess, and I'll let you know if it's right?
Okay.
Did you look at my list? Did you cheat?
I did not look at your list.
Okay.
So I'm going to say...
I can't read your...
Oh.
I know one for a fact, and I know this for a fact because you just posted on Foodies Watching Movies Facebook about how a specific actor from the specific film dressed as herself in that film, which is Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, every year I watch Hocus Pocus because I fucking love it. It was an amazing, amazing Disney movie.
I want
from the
Ernest
90s.
Scared Stupid to be on there, but I know it's not.
It's not on my list, no. No, but I was super pleased that Bette Midler dressed up as her character for Halloween this year at some party, some fancy pants party.
Watch the Hocus Pocus Heathens cover?
Yes.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Have you seen it? Know that song Heathens they used in Suicide Squad?
Pilots, yeah.
Yeah. So some people did a mashup of like the 3 people from Hocus Pocus singing a combination of that Hocus Pocus song they sing at the party with the Heathen song, and it's really cool.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, we'll have to listen to that.
I can't name any more on your list. I just knew Hocus Pocus.
Are you sure?
For sure.
You don't even want to venture a guess?
I should venture a guess.
Based on the information you know about me and my Halloween routines?
Yeah.
Can I throw out one?
Yeah.
Would Saw be on that list?
No. We were talking about Saw over lunch today, though. Why were we talking about Saw? Oh, because you showed us that trailer for that ridiculously creepy movie.
Oh, the
Would You Rather.
Would You Rather.
Which
It was
like
that on Netflix?
Yeah, it's probably on Netflix. It was when I watched it. I don't know if it's still up there.
Well, it reminded us of Saw, and that's why we were talking about Saw. But no, Saw's not on my list. I'll just go ahead and say them. Every year I watch Hocus Pocus because it's one of my favorite movies, and I loved that shit when I was little.
Oh my god, there's another one I think I know, but I can't think of the name of the movie. Like, I know the scenes, I'm seeing it in my head. We watched it together. Is Slither one of them?
Yes!
Okay,
Slither!
Yes.
Slither is definitely in my top favorite, like my top 5 favorite Halloween movies. Definitely my favorite James Gunn movie.
More Than Guardians?
Yeah,
Come on now.
I love this movie because it's so damn funny. It's so weird. Because it's like and Michael Rooker is in it, and he's perfect. It's so good. Everybody needs to go and watch Slither right now. And it's got the dude from Firefly and Castle, Nathan Fillion's in it. I love him. And Elizabeth Banks is in it, and she's hysterical.
It's a good cast.
Yeah. Oh, it's really great. It's super great. And I don't know why not a lot of people have seen this movie. I don't get it. It was a hilarious movie. It's about like space slugs that like infect the townsfolk of this like super backwoodsy, dirty town and turns them all into parasitic zombies.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's so good. It's so good. Everybody needs to watch Slither. So that's definitely on my list. My other one is, we already talked about, American Psycho.
Should've.
I don't know why this movie is like super poignant in my life right now. It keeps popping up. Like, we just watched this. We're singing a song, American Psycho. Like, it's just, my feelers are up and I'm
like
seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I wanted to dress up as Patrick Bateman for Halloween, like with a raincoat. But
where would you get a costume for that?
I couldn't find a raincoat
The
anywhere.
store.
A clear raincoat.
I couldn't find anything about that. So my other one is Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
That's a good movie.
That's my favorite Anne Rice novel because I've read all of her novels. I love them. And that one is my favorite. And I loved Kirsten Dunst in it. And it's like the only thing that I loved her in. And Brad Pitt was magical. It was great.
And Tom Cruise.
And God, I can't stand Tom Cruise, but man, was he great in that movie.
See, I think
he
of
was
Tom Cruise,
dead on.
and all I can think of is Tropic Thunder.
Well,
because that character is...
That's you. I watched this movie when it came out, like in 1990, what was it, 3 or 94?
That was on TV the other day, too. I watched part of it. It's a good movie to watch irregularly. Like, just every so often, just put that in.
Well, that used to be like my night-night movie when I was like a gothy little teen. So I watched that shit like every day for literally years. Just like in the background or at night. So I loved that movie. It was super, super fancy and dramatic.
I have an interesting story about Interview with a Vampire.
Ooh, do tell.
So I didn't see this like when I was younger, when it came out in the 90s. I didn't see it. But when I was like 17, 18, my buddy, whose mom owned a antique shop, he's like, hey man, you'll never believe what my mom got brought into the shop today, and she just told me to bring it home. And I was like, what? And he's like, Laserdisc player. So we hooked up a Laserdisc player, and one of the only movies he had was Interview with the Vampire, which we watched on Laserdisc.
Wow. That's cool.
You know, it is very cool. We got those big, they're like giant CD-ROMs.
Huge CDs.
And they flip, side one, side two.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever watched anything that was on Laserdisc.
It's bizarre.
I think I've seen a Laserdisc. I just don't think I've ever watched it.
If they'd have been smaller, they would have been, they are DVDs.
Right.
They would have been smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's what I have for that. What's your last one?
My last one is my other favorite, The Shining. I watch it every Halloween season, and inevitably I'm always watching it alone, which creeps me out.
You want to watch it tonight?
Sure.
Okay.
I can watch it anytime. I love this movie. And I love the book, and I love that they're so completely different from each other, because I know, like, Stephen King says that he hated the movie The Shining because Stanley Kubrick completely changed so many important details from the book. And the book was super scary. Scariest book I ever read. Super, super scary. Great book. And I just loved Stanley Kubrick's version of it too. Like, it was so good, and Jack Nicholson was perfect in it. I thought that was perfect casting. And I remember like being in high school and taking a film lit class, and we had to study The Shining for its color symbolisms and everything. So it's really fun to go back and watch that movie, you know, as an adult, and be like, oh yeah, they're trying to be super symbolic here with their reds and
Did
their...
you see the Stephen King made miniseries that he made of The Shining, like his version?
I did. He hated the movie version so much that he funded and produced, or he produced a miniseries on TV, and it was very close to the book, but
it doesn't have the Stanley Kubrick.
But Stephen King just puts out, I mean, no offense to Stephen King, he's an amazing writer, but anything that he's like, any film thing he's done has always been super B-movie cheesy, and just like not the best acting and production. I mean, I'd watch it again, but it was like 10 fucking hours.
Yeah, those miniseries.
Yeah, and it had like a bunch of like smaller named actors, like that do TV miniseries, you know.
But it, on the other hand,
but it was definitely closer to the book, and it's worth watching if you like The Shining.
The Shining makes me think of Episode 0, because Twister has scenes from
The
Shining.
Yeah, that was definitely...
And that makes for scary movie watching.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to say that definitely would fall into... later on, we were going to talk about like memorable Halloween movie scenes or death scenes or whatever. And that scene from The Shining with the two little girls in the hallway, and like the little boy is riding his tricycle down the hallway. And just like the sounds that his little bike is making on the hardwood floor, and then onto the carpet, and then the gong, and there's like these little dead girls. It's horrific.
Yeah.
Super scary.
Super creepy.
That shit stays with you.
just never unsee the old woman. Just can never
Oh, in the
unsee.
tub? Oh, I know. The Shining, like we could do a whole episode just talking about The Shining.
I'd be up for that.
Because it's so good.
I'm game. We're planning it for
coming
next
soon.
Yeah, we'll do a standoff episode.
We'll just
about
watch
that.
it after this episode. We won't tell them. We'll we'll do the whole episode and then just release it a year later.
That was my list, and also I will say that there was a movie on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. I think it's called Room 237, and it's a documentary about The Shining and all the weird like conspiracy.
About the Stanley Hotel?
No, not about the hotel, just about the movie, the making of the movie, and how intense it was for Shelley Duvall and Stanley Kubrick, and production costs and all these things. But it's like a lot of conspiracy things about this movie as well. So if you're into that kind of thing, I think it's called Room 237.
I love a good conspiracy.
You would love this movie.
So we should check it out. Is it my turn for top 5?
Yes, what's your list?
Okay, so I have listened to Poor Boy's list. I've listened to your list. I have not thought for 1 second, so I'm riffing right now. These are just the ones that pop into my brain as my absolute favorite
like
top
what
5.
could you watch over and over every Halloween?
So, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, hands down one of the best Freddy stories because it takes place in the real world.
Oh, was that the
and they are actors, you know, so you're just an actor. Robert Englund is Robert Englund in the movie, the lady that plays Nancy.
I never saw
herself.
that movie.
I heard
but
good
then
things
Freddy
about it.
comes to life, and it's like them being
course he
real
does.
people fighting this idea of Freddy that's kind of haunted them because they've had to deal with him as a character and do these movies, and you never think how it psychologically messes you up.
Robert Englund played Freddy
Both.
as well? Oh.
He plays both himself and Freddy, and it's super visceral. I would also say...
I'm surprised no one said The Addams Family, because we are watching that right now, and this is like one of my favorite Halloween movies too. It's like it's great for a background.
It'd be like my it'd make it my top 20. I don't know where it would place, but it probably wouldn't be it wouldn't make it probably in my top 10.
I know my next one.
Okay, what is
for
it?
sure? I'm over here looking at my movies, so my brain works better. Saw 2. I know you guys thought Saw 1 for sure was making the list. Maybe not. We'll see. But Saw 2 had a really cool story for me. I love that it's the idea.
I love that you're just standing up right now.
Well, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing what I can, right? But
he's crooning up there.
Yeah.
Saw 2 is like... Oh, and that one too. Okay, cool. I got my next two. Okay, so Saw 2 is really awesome because the story is like everybody having to work together And if you just do what you're told, everything will be fine. And that's the whole lesson, is just do what you're told and everything's cool. And then that's not the same lesson as Saw number 1. And that's why I think the movies in general are pretty cool. I have almost every single Saw movie, and I
Was that
did
the
like
one
the
where,
series.
like, if they would have done everything as a group, they would have been fine?
Well, kind of.
Or is that like the one where like is that the one that has you have to give blood at the end?
No, that's 6.
That's 6?
I'm pretty sure that's 6.
God, there's like a million of these movies.
No,
they all kind of blend.
2 was
I only
where
saw
they
the
start
first
off
one.
in the small room together. Everybody's in the small room together, and the one dude walks to the peephole to see what's going on and tries to turn the handle, and it says not to do that, and it shoots him through the eye. And then like one of the Wahlbergs is in it. I think it's Donnie Wahlberg is in the movie as the main lead, and his character kind of carries the lineage of the story further past the second movie. Next on the list, so shocked nobody has said this one yet. Hi. 7.
Oh.
What's in the box?
What's in the box, Brad
Damn,
Pitt,
that movie
Morgan
is
Freeman,
good.
I
Kevin
guess I just never
Spacey.
thought or like it was a psychological thriller more than
Yeah,
like
it's
a
not
scary
like a horror movie or
But
something.
I just
It does-
associate the time with
it doesn't
that.
mess with your...
Now this one's bizarre on my top 5. How about 13 Ghosts?
Oh, I remember that
I have not
movie
seen that
in that
movie.
glass house.
Oh, man. What's up?
They were in that like glass house or something.
Mechanically glass house,
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Matthew Lillard gets cut in half through the door. The door just shuts him in. Shannon Elizabeth is in that as well.
Mhm.
I like that movie. That movie always makes me
There
think
were some
of
really great costumes in that
Ghost
movie.
Ship also.
That movie makes me think of Ghost Ship too.
Yeah, those two kind of go hand in hand.
Uh-huh.
Although Ghost Ship's probably not on the list.
It's definitely not on my
original
list.
Nightmare on Elm Street is 4. That was me.
Oh, okay.
And then, which Nightmare on Elm Street we've already kind of discussed why it's great. It's a phenomenal film.
Mhm.
Can't top it. 5 is Paranormal Activity. You said my pick. My story for Paranormal Activity is why it's on my list.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you know this about me. I know you haven't heard this story. So, Brando gets married in 2008 on Halloween, and we have an option because the wedding party has decided that after the wedding, we're all going to go see a movie in the theaters. And we have 2 choices, Saw 5 or Paranormal Activity. And I was like, fuck it, we'll watch Paranormal Activity. I didn't know anything about this movie. I had not seen a trailer. I had no idea. I saw nothing. Okay, so I walk into this movie completely blind to it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the movie, I thought that it was a fucking documentary. And I was in my head convinced that this had really happened to people because it's just the way it's shot. And like I said, I had the
found footage.
no
And
idea.
it says based on doesn't it say like based on a true story?
Well, wouldn't you think, they wouldn't actually air this in theaters if it was real?
Not true, because
But if you're in that mindset, you can. It's very believable.
It is very believable.
I will say that movie was very believable. It was super creepy.
Like the Ouija board gets set on fire, and I was just like, "Fuck that! Not fucking with Ouija boards ever again." I haven't touched one since, like
Oh my
legit.
God.
You know. But that movie was bizarre because we watched it in theaters. We all leave the theater and no one says a word. We're all just kind of like in shock, you know.
Mm.
And I'm like, guys, I'm like, Brando, I know I said I'd drive home after this, but fuck that. It's dark out and I don't want to be in the dark by myself, you know.
Mhm.
So I went over to their house and we stayed up till like 5 a.m. But you would think, you just
Wait.
went on.
On their wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They told us, they're like, come over. Because it was like me, Wes, Rob.
That's cool.
And a couple other people. And then obviously Kate and Brando.
So their anniversary is tomorrow?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well,
Which
happy
would be
anniversary, guys.
6 years together, Brando and Kate. So happy 6-year
Oh.
anniversary tomorrow, yesterday, whenever
Mazel
you.
tov.
October 31st of 2016 is when we're talking about for you
Correct.
future watchers or listeners.
Whatever.
But so I stayed over there and we even looked it up. Like, was the movie real? Like, was it a documentary or not?
Yeah.
And we found out that it was not, in fact, real. And it still messed with me. And then I was like, well, I gotta show people this movie. It's like, it fucked me up. What is it gonna do to other people?
Oh my God.
So I showed Sarah and Dad, and they were tripped out about it too, you know. But I never saw any Paranormal Activities outside of the first one. Yeah.
Oh, I saw all of them except for the one that just came out.
The Ghost Dimension one.
I didn't see that one.
I
I
liked-
just saw the
one that took place in the past was pretty good.
first 3.
So I don't know if that was the second or third one. The one that took place.
They were all creepy.
In, like-
I don't like watching scary movies anymore, honestly. Ever since I had my son, I feel like I can't watch that shit
It,
anymore.
like, desensitized you to
Yeah.
being... Yeah.
You know, and just
Oh.
being alone a lot, it's
I gotta
like
mention
it's hard
another
to do
movie.
that.
Sure, bring it up. Honorable mention.
When you mentioned Matthew Lillard,
Scream?
No.
Scooby-Doo?
No. Idle Hands.
Idle Hands,
Oh,
yes.
Idle Hands,
Weren't we just
nice.
talking about that movie? I feel like I was talking about it with somebody.
Because I kind of, with this and then with frickin' thing.
What?
Christopher Lloyd?
Well, no, with the hand and Adam's Family.
Oh, yeah, Idle Hands.
It was just, that movie was,
thing.
and then Seth Green, and it was just, that's just a fun movie.
That was such a great movie. I love Devin Sawa in that
frickin-
movie.
the
I love the
bagel
soundtrack to that movie. It had a great, like, rock metal
Idle
soundtrack
Hands,
to
the
it.
Devil's Playing Field.
It was super cool. That was a good movie. But just, it's a total stoner movie. Stoner Halloween movie.
Wow.
Excellent honorable mention.
Good.
Well done.
Do you have a good honorable mention for Halloween time? Something that maybe didn't make your list, but you still enjoy?
Well, like I said, Addams Family, that's my honorable mention. And Addams Family Values, which is the second one, the sequel. Yeah, that one was a really good one, too. I love Joan Cusack in that movie. I love Joan Cusack in general, so she can do no wrong in my
Do you like her
mind's
brother?
eye. I do. I like John Cusack a lot. Yeah.
Oh.
Does Nate have an honorable mention?
Yeah, I gotta look at my movies real quick here. Sorry.
Cheater.
I don't mean to pastor up. So... I have all these movies, and I've seen, like, all these movies, and it's hard. It's difficult to...
Sometimes I like watching Willy Wonka around Halloween, because that's pretty creepy.
It's original?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Gene Wilder.
The Tunnel?
R.I.P. Oh, I do have an honorable mention, speaking of Gene Wilder.
Okay.
Nate just bought us Young Frankenstein because I couldn't find my copy.
Oh, yeah.
Bingo.
And he got it for $5, and we were so happy, and we watched
Young
it.
Frankenstein's a good movie.
Yes, it is. It is one of my favorite Mel Brooks movies. It is actually my favorite Mel Brooks movie. It was my night-night movie that I would watch at night when I was pregnant, so I watched it for like 10 months every night. So I got that son of a bitch memorized. But it's so clever and funny and silly and
What
weird.
was the name? Abby something.
Abby someone.
Abby Normal.
Abby Normal.
Okay, so I just saw 2 honorable mentions, but I'm going to go with the one that's going to be more popular, because if I say the other one, you guys are going to think I'm just fucking weird.
Okay.
Army of Darkness.
Yes.
Duh.
Great movie.
My second honorable mention that was less obvious was number 23. I really liked that movie. It's creepy and fucked up.
Oh, the
Jim
Jim
Carrey,
Carrey,
yeah.
where his first... Yeah, that also was
Number
weird.
23.
The number 23, you never
Everybody gets
saw
obsessed about that number.
Because everything can break down to the number 23, and they play on it, and it's so fucking... It'll mess you up.
I don't think I ever saw that movie. It's super familiar sounding.
Very
Like, I know the
visceral.
premise now, but I don't remember ever watching it.
Okay, so let's talk about some things you do remember. Guys, just maybe one to start out with. If you got a couple, we'll riff on them back and forth. Movie deaths, like major movie deaths from horror films, any kind of, just brutal. There are tons of brutal,
I've got
gory.
a couple.
Okay?
I was thinking about this, and we were talking about Scream earlier. Well, we breezed by Scream earlier. But I always remembered when Rose McGowan died in that garage door in the movie Scream. That was gross. I didn't like it, but it always stuck with me because it, showed her, face being crunched, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Ugh.
Yeah. That one stuck with me.
Now, I mentioned it earlier. Jason X has, in my opinion, the greatest murder sequence for a horror film ever. Because Jason X, he's laying there, he's, still in the cryostasis, they think. He's laying there, and then he sits up, and the girl doesn't realize it, and, they're in this future space lab or whatever, and they just happen to have a sink filled with, nitroglycerin. So Jason dunks her head in it, lifts her up, and then shatters her face on the counter, because it freezes her face.
Nitrogen?
Nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen, yes.
Okay.
Liquid nitrogen.
I was going to say,
my
what?
fault.
Why would it liquid glycerin?
No, liquid nitrogen, my fault.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's gross. That's definitely memorable.
Yeah, because, he holds her down,
Yeah.
and then he lifts her up, and you can just see that her face is frozen, and she's still kind of there, and then he
Gross.
smashed it, Oof.
Another thing that stuck with us that we haven't touched on was the latest episode of The Walking Dead.
I was going to bring it up. I'm so glad you did first, though.
Well,
Spoilers.
yeah, spoilers, guys. If you haven't seen the latest episode of Walking Dead, you probably shouldn't. But we watched it and we knew what was going to happen because we've been reading the comic books and we're all caught up on those. But Sarah didn't read the comic books and she was not ready for what happened last Sunday, so we ended up turning it off because it was too close to the comics, which I didn't appreciate.
It actually was so close that it was a little much for me.
Too close. Yeah,
like I said, I knew it was gonna be that. Like I was expecting it. I was fully expecting everything. But I don't think it, like, and I even said this on Journey into Comics, episode 113, Vampire Bat, by the way. Shameless plug.
Hello.
Honestly, it was not seeing Glenn's eye popped out. It was not seeing his brains coming out of his dome. It was not seeing his little arm twitch after he was gone. Him trying to talk to Maggie fucked me up.
That's what fucked me up when I read the comic issue. What was that, issue 100?
100, yeah.
Yeah. When I read issue 100, that stayed with me for like a month after I read it. I was in a funk
you know what's crazy?
Because they killed off Glenn.
But they, we shut it off and then came back and I watched the rest of it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of skipped past the scene. Mm-hmm. And apparently there's a line that the slowly dying Glenn says that's like really messed up fans, where after he says Maggie's name, he says, "I'll find you."
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on.
Because they always talk about how they find each other.
Yeah. And it's just
super awful.
They just took it to that extreme.
I feel like I don't want to watch The Walking Dead anymore, just because the comics are so good, and I feel like this show is just gonna mess it up.
It's just amazing they can show that on TV. Like,
yeah, what they showed was so
not even
graphic.
On, like, premium cable. It's just,
and it didn't even look that bad because I knew it was coming. And as soon as that first hit came down with Lucille, you're like, okay, they're gonna show it, and it's gonna be awful. And then it was like super not cartoony. I mean, it was well applied makeup effects, but it took away from it. That gratuitous nastiness took away from what it was.
It's weird because I feel like The Walking Dead to me now has transformed from like where it was a show that I could kind of dive into, and even though there's a lot of unbelievable aspects like the walkers and stuff, that it's taken a twist now where I'm going to have to watch this from here on in, consistently telling myself these guys are just actors. These people are just actors. They're not real. Because I do that with Game of Thrones. That way I'm
that way you don't get emotionally involved.
Exactly.
Invested in it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But I liked Glenn, and I knew Glenn. I mean, it was fate. But yeah, that was very gross. Now, back to the movie side. Memorable deaths. AP, you?
Oh, I'm surprised we haven't really brought this up at all yet. But the deaths in the Final Destination movies.
Ew.
Yep.
Those are.
I always think about the tanning bed one.
That one's rough.
Where she got fried
that
in
always
the tanning
gets
bed.
me is when the boy gets crushed by the pane of glass, and it just
Ew.
that drop and it just flattens him, and it's just.
Now
super
that movie
chunky.
Totally messed me up because when it came out, I watched it like the day before I flew on a 20-hour flight to Australia when I was like 14.
And
it was like a plane crash movie at the beginning, and it freaked me out so bad.
Have you seen all 5 of them?
I've only seen the
I saw
first
like
3.
the first 2.
Oh, okay. Because it closed the loop in the most beautiful way, which is pretty awesome.
See, the third one soured the whole series for me.
The third one wasn't.
Because the third one, they took Say
coaster.
Cheese and Die from the frickin' Goosebumps books and then said it was Final Destination story.
That pretty much was the...
And it was like, come on.
I love that you just made that Goosebumps reference.
Say Cheese and Die, do you remember that?
Yeah, I had tons of Goosebumps
But
books.
I mean, specifically the Say Cheese and Die
yeah,
story.
it was the roller coaster one, right?
No, the Say Cheese and Die story was where the dad would take a Polaroid with the magic camera and then, like, the picture would be the boy with the broken ankle. And they'd be like, wait, his ankle's not broken, and then his ankle would get broken.
Ew, yeah.
And it would, like, future predict.
Oh my god, Goosebumps are so rad.
Yep, Say Cheese and Die 2 was
I remember that was
I always
one of my
liked the
favorite
Haunted
Goosebumps
Mask.
books.
I have the first 60 Goosebumps still to this
Really?
day.
Awesome.
You should go read one.
I just
like
when he stepped when he has the nail going through his foot, and then he.
That is
that is. They pretty much pulled that right into. But
those
then they went
old
away from
Goosebumps movies, the TV show they had where they just like televised the novels.
The Haunted Mask.
I loved the Haunted Mask.
It
was so good. The mask was so good.
I just like the dude who plays the coroner in the Foundation movies because you're like pretty sure he's deaf.
Tony Todd,
was also the voice of Zoom.
Yep.
Yeah, that voice just.
He was also Candyman.
Oh yeah, his voice could be in anything. He could be anything too.
Here's another honorable mention I'd like to mention.
Honorably?
Sure. I'm having trouble thinking of the name. What was the movie? It was like a vignette movie with all these like weird, unrelated Halloween time stories. Like, and then it culminated into one big scene with Anna Paquin was in it. She was like a werewolf secretly. Was it It's not Pumpkinhead or... Oh, God, I can't think of it.
I don't know.
Okay,
You're going to have to look it up.
I'm going to have to Google it. Sorry,
While you're
guys.
looking that up, though...
Oh, please.
That vignette movie made me think of the movie that's on Netflix now.
Cat's
Holidays.
Eye? Oh.
Holidays?
Yeah, it's a bunch of scary stories that are set on like every holiday, and like they had different directors come in. Like Kevin Smith directed a Halloween one that was super messed up, but like it was a bunch of these little tiny like 10-ish minute short films they put together that played out each holiday. Like it opened up with the holiday. Like they had the creepiest thing was they had one for Easter, which was a combination of like the common Easter rabbit and then still like the whole religious aspect of it. It was this weird amalgamation that was terrifying.
I found this movie. It's called Trick or Treat, this movie I was looking for.
Good.
With Sam?
That's a great movie. This one.
Yeah, that's Sam.
Yeah, that was a good one. Trick or Treat was good. That was worth watching. Sorry I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
So, in Holidays, is there a crazy death sequence that you were going to bring up? Is there anything you can think of?
Yeah, there was, where was it? Oh, it was Mother's Day. Because they did a weird thing about, but it ended with literally, like, I could never, if I was a woman, I don't think I could have kids after that one. It's just like,
ew.
Because, like, the whole thing was, like, every time, she kept wanting to not have a baby, so she kept having, like, she kept getting rid of the kid. And apparently there was this weird thing with this culture about they kept coming back strong and ends up, like, just getting ripped out. I'm like, oh, no.
Ew.
This like, almost looks like a full-grown man's, like, arm. Like, I'm like, nope. That was terrifying.
Sounds like
and then just
That's
ended.
a big fat nope.
And then just ended. I was
For
like,
me.
what?
Oh.
No thanks.
Yeah, but there's some crazy deaths in that one, too.
All right, guys. So I want to move us a little bit forward, talking about crazy deaths. There are some deaths in a movie we just watched today that were crazy and hilarious and bizarre.
Yeah, let's talk about what we watched today, finally.
And different. And now you had seen this film prior.
Yeah, I've seen this movie one other time.
I have been a champion of this film since the first time I saw it. Mm-hmm. And
this
I was
movie's great.
so excited
Funny.
to show it to somebody who hadn't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. AP, what did you think of Tucker and Dale versus Evil? Just unpack it as best you can, man.
It was hilarious. It definitely wasn't like when you first to the movie. I was not expecting that to be. You're like, oh, it's Alan Tudyk, and they're like, okay. And then it's like plays like it plays on every cliched like either horror movie or like teenaged.
Yeah, this movie's a parody.
Movie. But like, it just messes with you. Like everything gets kind of spun on its head. You're like the people you think are going to be like the bad guys are like the two nicest dudes you'll ever meet who are just just keep getting an unfortunate situation.
Doozy of a day.
They're having a
doozy of a day.
And then these kids are just terrible people.
Yeah.
And just still do the dumb kid things with like
the teen movie like classic stuff, you know. Yeah. Let's smoke weed, we're gonna drink, we're gonna go skinny dipping in the woods at night alone. But yeah. They're like falling
stories around the
campfire. They're falling into like all of the classic horror movie stereotypes, and then they somehow get turned into the villains. And this is a great movie. It's super weird and funny, and there's tons of like horrendous, random, awful death sequences. Like at one point, somebody gets head dives into a wood chipper, and you can't feel bad because the way that it's done was just super funny.
Right.
So like, you're like laughing at some guy's plight.
They would introduce a wood chipper in the middle, like with no reason. Like, because like even Nate said during the movie, like they're chipping perfectly good firewood in this cabin in the woods.
Why would you do that? Like,
well, because they needed a wood chipper in that scene. That's why.
You said that to me. Yeah, the first time I saw this movie, I was just utterly baffled by how hilarious it was because you said it plays on the parody thing.
Yeah.
But while it does that, it doesn't do it in a kind of overly grotesque way. I'm not talking like how, was it Scary Movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
To Scream. There's all these parallels. They're trying to do the same scene for scene, but then they're adding comedic, just off-putting comedy in it to kind of make it a little less tense. This movie takes it a completely different turn because it's like, things aren't bad, but these kids make things bad because of what they have in their head,
right.
What the preconceived notion of these other characters are, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just
so
like
they turn it, like they spin a story in their own head, and they're essentially fighting themselves.
Right.
Right.
'Cause all of it,
It's
like,
just a
the
big
two guys-
misunderstanding. This whole movie is just a big miscommunication.
With blood on their hands, but they never actually hurt anyone. Like, they're
Right.
just like...
It was all accidents.
Like,
whoops.
Like, don't run with a giant sharpened piece of wood. Like, it's,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know.
Yeah, some dude gets impaled in the
And
woods.
like the person you don't think is going to be the villain in the end becomes the villain. You're like, oh, awesome.
Yeah, that I would definitely recommend this movie. How many pizza slices would we give it? Or should we say in this case, how many PBRs would we give it?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Because
they drink a lot of PBR in this movie.
I agree with that.
It's good for wounds.
Yeah, every wound he pours it on his. Yeah. Okay, so how many PBRs would this movie get? I'm gonna go with 8.
With 8? Are we doing a 10 scale?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I thought we're doing it in 6 packs. No, it's like...
Yeah, they just keep going. Clever wordplay.
I did get it in a nice... I think on a first time viewing that movie, I would say... I'd say 1.5 6-packs. Like, let's say 8 cans.
Wow.
8 or 10 cans.
I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So an 8.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this a little bit differently and do a totally different reference. It's going to tie in another podcast here.
Okay.
And we're just, tethering
Go
all the
for it.
different podcasts. So, if I was grading Tucker and Dale versus Evil, do you guys remember, like, in the 90s when Stone Cold Steve Austin would come down to the ring and he would just throw his hand up and they give him beers, and then he would go up in the ring and he would chug the beers, and then he would go to another ring post and he would do the same thing over and over and over again.
Okay.
Like 4 rounds of that is how this movie makes me feel. Just going up on ring ropes, chugging the beers, going to another set of ring ropes, chugging more beers, going to another, chugging more beers, it's fun, it's zany, it's sincere.
It's
has
super
a really-
genuine. It's got a great friendship message.
It does. It has a great story behind it,
About
while being
bros.
completely just bizarre.
Yeah, it's
I don't
a great
even
movie.
You don't even like fishing. You couldn't even hurt a fish.
So my friend Alan has given me some horrible, awful, no good movie review, like, recommendations. But this one was Alan's recommendation, and we watched it, and it was so funny. Dale and Tucker.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, it was great. That was one of his winning movies. This is also the same person who told me to watch that stupid fucking movie Rubber about the killer tire.
That movie was horrible.
That movie was super
It
horrible.
was the worst movie.
Can we talk about that? I'm happy there's going to be a sequel to Tucker and Dale.
Yes, absolutely. Let's bring it up.
Nate, you mentioned that earlier. Do
I'm
tell.
pretty sure if I grab my telephono right now, I want to say Tucker and Dale versus Evil 2 comes out in early 2018 or late 2017.
So they're probably filming it next year sometime.
That's super exciting. I'm pleased. Because they set it up nicely for a sequel years down the road.
If I go back here and if I just do Tucker and Dale vs. Evil 2, a second thing here. So
I'm so
as
glad
of
Adam's Family is on right
March
now.
22nd of 2016, so that's within this year.
Mm-hmm.
HorrorFreaksNews.com reports that if you haven't seen Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, you're missing one of the greatest horror comedy hits, comedies to hit the public in a long time. Stellar, blah, blah, blah. Tyler Labine, who played Dale, and Alan Tudyk, who played Tucker, who star the titular characters in Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, are more than interested in seeing a sequel come to life. They've had next to nothing in regards to details, but they said that it's on its way soon. So I would say, yeah, look for that in the next year or so.
That would be wonderful. I'd be super pleased.
It'll be super
can't
bizarre.
wait.
And great. And different.
So I also wanted to take this opportunity to mention that since it's Halloween and this is Foodies Watching Movies, we've been making a lot of pumpkin flavored things around here. We've been making a ton of pumpkin spice cupcakes with like this amazing cream cheese frosting. And I went to Sur La Table and got that pumpkin emulsion. So I've been putting that in so many different things, and it's magnificent.
It's doable.
Yeah.
You know?
From Sur La Table. Fancy pants.
Well, I mean, pumpkin spice is every white girl's fantasy.
Well, it's basically the best.
It's basically the best. Of course you would say that.
Yeah.
Now...
Oh, and we also made a treat. One of my friends was getting married and asked me to make some treats for a party she had. So I made some peanut butter, butterscotch, Rice Krispie treats covered with butterscotch and chocolate ganache. And it was really, they looked great. They tasted good.
I'm sure
they got a good review. She liked them.
Well, that's awesome. Now, you're talking about food reviews.
Yeah.
We are Foodies Watching Movies now. Again, here we go. I'm tethering yet another podcast to our podcast.
Okay.
When Brandon had Sorta Live podcast, the thing that they would do is they would try something new on every episode that neither him nor Rob had tried before. Today, we tried something. Hand me that bottle, please. I want to just make sure I'm saying and reading this ship correctly. So today we tried Fentiman's Cherry Tree Cola. It's botanically brewed, fermented botanical cherry drink with ginger and herbal extracts. Thoughts?
It was super floral.
It was
and spicy.
It was
and gingery.
It kind of tastes like they took like a spiced cherry candle and dropped it into like a can of Coca-Cola.
That's exactly how it tasted. It tasted like a Coke-flavored candle.
Now, I tasted the smell of Bed Bath & Beyond or like something. It just tasted like candle.
Yeah.
Or like Bath and Body Works.
Bath and Body Works,
no,
yeah.
They come in these really cool, vintagey, like squat-looking bottles. And they've got cool labels, and I mean, I dig it. It's kind of hipstery, I'm not going to lie.
What's the glass bottle part of it say?
Botanically brewed. That's what it says. Botanically brewed. Ingredients are like super basic. Like it's like better for you than I guess some of the other pops. I mean, it's just it's fermented ginger root, water, cola flavor, cherry flavor, caffeine.
Of course, they had to throw the caffeine in.
Yeah, it's got a ton of sugar in it, 32 grams of sugar. I don't know. I don't think I'd buy it again. This brand also does a rose-flavored lemonade that comes in the really cool bottles, too, and that's delicious. We really liked that. Yeah, but we found it at Target.
Okay, so you found this at Target discounted.
It was on clearance, yeah.
So before we move forward, I want to get a review on this. I don't know if we'll do like 5 thumbs up because it's pop, yo.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I'd have to give it a 3.
3, yeah. Solid 3.
I've had worse. Mm-hmm. I've had better. It was
different.
It was different, but it didn't really wow me one way or the other.
Is this one yours?
No. Oh, I finished mine.
Oh.
That's yours. I moved it onto the coaster.
Like just.
Can I have one last sip of that just to on air be able to give a fresh
Yeah,
taste?
you nailed it, man. It tastes just like a cherry flavored candle, a Coke candle. Yeah. I mean, it's nice, but I don't want to drink a whole lot of it.
If I had more than one of those at a time, I would probably get sick. Mm-hmm. I feel like the sweetness and the taste would just I would not want to. I need like water in between.
Fermented. You know what it is? It's the fermented ginger in it.
It gets you in the nose.
It's like it's spicy. It's like kind of burning my tongue a little bit.
Like if you guys were finishing a 6-pack of those, you would just feel your
sick.
Tongue would feel like burning. It would just not be pleasant. But
miserable.
For one drink, it would probably be like one.
If you want to be a little fancy hipster, then get these drinks because the bottles are cool and they taste kind of fun and different, but you're not going to want to drink a whole one.
Maybe if you're mixing it with something alcoholic, it might be okay.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Or some cherry whiskey. Yeah, some kind of cherry whiskey,
That'd be
maybe.
really sweet, but it wouldn't be bad.
Amaretto.
Something.
Yeah.
All right, so 3, I'm going to go 2.5. Didn't really wow me. I think there's something with It tastes like flat pop to me. I think that's the one thing.
Yeah,
it's not carbonated enough.
Right, it's not carbonated enough. It's a little flat tasting, especially after it's been like
'Cause
getting
when you
more
twist it
room
off,
temperature.
It didn't really fizz up right
It
away.
didn't.
It was just
Right.
I mean, and you got to think, you got this at like Target for what, $3? Discounted.
No, they were like $6, weren't they?
I think they were $3.
Maybe they were $6 originally, and they were on clearance for like $3. Yeah.
But clearance. Speaking of clearance, tomorrow, not tomorrow,
Tuesday.
future tomorrow, Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
past Tuesday
Tuesday, November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
of 2016.
What's Tuesday? Why are we talking about Tuesday?
Because that's major discount candy day, baby.
And all the decorations.
All Halloween candy and decorations and costumes will be on clearance because it's time to move to the best, most important season of seasons, Christmas time.
Oh no!
Because they're gonna
Thanksgiving.
skip. They skipped it. They already skipped it. They're already Christmas trees at places.
I saw
Ew.
Christmas decorations up tandem with Halloween, so I'm like, they can't touch.
Can I just say that it's super annoying that people get super excited about Christmas literally before Halloween has even happened? I understand Christmas is magical and fun. Yes, I'm excited about that, but I don't want to be excited about it until it's cold and snowy, like in December.
Right.
Okay.
Because I love Thanksgiving. That's my favorite holiday.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, I
And on
cannot
this
wait
podcast,
for Thanksgiving.
Putting
Oh.
a bunch of pounds on for this Thanksgiving, like 4 in a row.
Oh, I plan on gaining at least 10 pounds.
I mean, I think there's 4 or 5 Thanksgivings we're having in a row, though. Like, for real.
Yeah, we're having a lot of Thanksgivings this year.
Because, you know,
Never have too many.
Anthony has brought up to me
Friendsgiving.
that he wants to do Friendsgiving that Sunday.
Oh, man, that's a lot of Thanksgivings.
That's why I'm saying, yeah.
God, I love Thanksgiving. I'm totally down.
Oh, God. Just in a day,
So many potatoes for days.
Thanksgiving leftovers are probably the best leftovers you can ever
They
have.
are. We had the best leftovers last year, remember?
Yeah.
Like, you just pull cold turkey out of a Tupperware and just,
We're future tripping into the next holiday, and we haven't even discussed. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Or candy in general, really, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
we're going to have a lot of candy left over because I never get trick-or-treaters at my house, and I bought a couple bags of candy. So we're going to have to, like, make something with it, like bars or cookies or
I'd have
something.
to divide it up because my favorite chocolate-based candy would have to be a Three Musketeers.
Ooh.
My favorite chocolate-based candy would have to be a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
My favorite chocolate-based candy is Butterfinger, baby.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were
But
to jump...
I always prefer candy over chocolate, though. Like, I love
That's
Airheads.
how I am.
So now, your favorite candy-based candy, not chocolate-based.
Airheads.
Ooh, I'd have to go with Sprees.
Sprees are good.
Oh, I haven't had Sprees in forever.
I used to always get those chewy
Sprees, yeah, from like the candy
that
machines.
texture in my mouth right now.
Yeah, it's like it makes my mouth water a little bit because they're so tart at first. My little son loves going to the dollar store just to buy Sprees from the vending machine.
Oh, get the little. You
Like,
just
I
turn
take
and
him
get
for
like,
walks.
Get like 10
Just
of
for
them, and you're
that.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I just give him like 2 quarters, and then we'll take a walk and go to the dollar store and get candy.
I feel
He
like,
loves it.
Veronica, you could guess my candy-based candy that I like.
Can I?
Over all candies, there's one.
I don't know.
Sour Patch Kid watermelon.
Oh, yeah, you do like those. Those
Out
are
of
good.
this world. I can
Those
eat
are
an entire
good.
bag of those in like 4 minutes.
I can't eat more than like 2 of them though, because they get that
Probably like
tartness.
Warheads too, didn't you?
I love
Oh my God! Do you remember Warheads? And
Cash walked up to me the other day and he just goes, "Here, man, got a prize for you," and gave me a Warhead and then ran back
Cash
inside.
gave you a Warhead?
Yeah.
I'm so glad we have an 8-year-old in our lives that can give us Warheads.
I know that was a great gesture from him.
Excellent.
That was an absolute
Yeah,
great
I remember
gesture.
those from elementary school, and man, were they sour. And you were like the
Then they were
baddest of
delicious.
asses
Once the
if you
sour
could
was
do like
gone,
the
then they
black and
became
white
so
ones.
much better too. Like you if you didn't like the sour, as soon as you got past it, they got really good.
Favorite Warhead.
I don't know, but I feel like my mouth being ripped apart right now
strongest
just
one was
thinking about them.
was the
I thought the
lemon?
blue was the
The
strongest.
lemon, was it lemon?
Wasn't
yeah,
it?
yellow lemon.
Yeah, that one always had some.
I don't know.
But I like lemon, so I always gravitated towards that one, and that one always got me.
Whenever I ate the blue ones, the blue cherry or the blue raspberry ones or whatever, it would literally like acidically melt the skin off the inside of my mouth. I could like peel it off.
That's what it does. It's
You know.
pure freaking chemicals. Speaking of delicious chemical candies from the 90s, do you remember those bubble jugs? They were pink jugs filled with powder and little pieces of
Yes.
bubble gum, and that powder was so freaking good.
Just,
I wish they still made that because I loved that. I just got like
Pop
taken back.
Rocks.
Pop Rocks are cool.
My son just tried Pop Rocks for the
I
first
remember
time.
That was dope. That was awesome.
That was super funny.
A bunch
He
in
was
your mouth
super
and just walk around
excited.
people and just hear the...
Yeah, open your mouth and let it sizzle.
Yeah.
Remember, people would say the urban legend: "Don't drink Coke and have Pop Rocks; it'll kill you."
You'll blow up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta know. We're winding down here. Halloween plans. Did you do anything this Halloween? Are you doing anything this Halloween? Have you done anything? What did you dress up as? If you wanted to dress up as anything, V. Did you want to start? You want AP to start?
I can start.
Sure.
Fine. I do not like dressing up for Halloween anymore because I'm getting older and I just don't feel like as into it as I used to. So I just wore a headband that had kitty ears on it. They were little like pink rose kitty ears. But I wore those for our gig we had last night, and that was fun.
That was an interesting night, to say the least.
It was an interesting night.
I think last night kind of resonated with, and I'm sorry I have to say this on air in front of people that are going to hear us, but we're getting old. Because last night kind of had a curveball, and that's a double entendre curveball thrown our way. Because we get to the show, we're going to set up at 6, we're going to be performing at 9. We get there, and the promoter goes, "Hey man, I just wanted to let you guys know I forgot to tell anybody, we're not starting any music at all until the Cubs game is over."
Right. So we weren't going to end up going on until like 10:30.
Well, it would have been 10 if we were the first band.
Right.
But then some other fucking band bullied us out of our spot and said, we want to open.
Wanted to open, and we're just like, whatever, that's fine. So they open, and then our band, our little punk rock piano Misfits tribute band, got like sandwiched between two like black metal bands, and it was just a very interesting group of
to go
sounds,
from like guttural growls that you can't understand,
I mean, it was cool.
To
I was digging it. I was jamming it.
Oh yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was just a really funny show, I suppose, being, a punk band versus, a dark black metal band. So it was an interesting way to spend my Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I loved singing the Misfits with you guys. It was super fun and
always is
silly, and yeah, it was cool. I dug it. Tomorrow, which is actually Halloween, I'm going to take my son trick-or-treating. He's going as Marshall from Paw Patrol, and he was super stoked when I gave him his costume. He liked that.
And then he had a meltdown because he broke it.
Well, he tore a little piece of the collar.
Paw Patrol.
It's an animated show on Nick Jr.
Are they puppies?
Yeah, they're dogs, and they are
a rescue team.
They're rescued pups. It's the worst. Oh, but he loves it so much. So he's going to be Marshall from Paw Patrol, and I'm going to take him trick-or-treating tomorrow.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, what are you going to do for Halloween? What have you been doing?
Last night, I went to a Halloween party at a friend of mine's house. They had a little get-together. So my girlfriend and I dressed up as Bob and Linda from Bob's Burgers. So I spent the last, month and a half growing a pretty big mustache. I showed you guys the picture.
That's amazing.
And then I shaved all the beard off, just left the mustache. And
I didn't see the picture. You must have shown Nate.
Oh, okay. I'll have to show you later.
My phone was having drama.
My phone was being stupid. But, so we did that, and then we ended up going out to some bars and saw some pretty interesting people. I think people probably in their 20s, when they dress up to Halloween to go out drinking, they get some really weird costumes.
Yeah.
Literally, there was someone dressed as Jared Fogle with an inflatable child strapped to the front of them.
Ew.
I was like, that is not okay.
That's
you
awful.
Can't do that. It was very bad.
Halloween.
I was like, people need to not do that kind of stuff. But then I saw a Colonel Sanders and a bucket of fried chicken as a couple costume, and then everything was right with the world again.
The guy was Colonel Sanders, she was the bucket of chicken.
Yes.
Dope.
Nice.
That is awesome.
How about you, Nate?
Well, obviously, we had the show last night. We talked about it a little bit. Cool experience. First time playing that place. I liked it. Probably give out some candy on Halloween Day. It's weird because Halloween trick-or-treat now is 5 o'clock. It's so early.
Yeah, it's super early.
And we got...
I remember when I was little, trick-or-treating started when it got dark.
Now, I want to
it's
say...
ending when it gets dark.
I want to say there's one thing, though, about trick-or-treat that I got to talk about is... This tradition that goes on in this house is that Sarah's dad, for whatever reason, his own accord, every year decides that he's going to get us Halloween candy to pass out. But he doesn't get, like, a Mars Bars variety pack or anything great. He gets the shitty, like, all Tootsie Rolls candy with, like, the 3 boxes of dots in the 3.5-pound bag, which we ate 2 of. Actually,
Not
right
me.
here. So
I
look,
didn't eat
this,
2.
look. All that's left are Tootsies and Tootsie Pops.
Tootsie Pops are the best.
And then there's also the different flavored lemon Tootsie
The
Roll
fruit
or the
Tootsie
fruit
Rolls.
The orange aren't bad.
I like those. I like
orange
the
isn't
fruit
bad.
Tootsie Rolls. I don't like Tootsie Rolls though. Just the fruit ones.
Tootsie Pops are pretty good.
Yeah.
I keep seeing the original Tootsie Pop commercial on TV now with the owl from like the 70s or 80s or something, and it's like, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
3. The world might never know.
Yeah, I keep seeing that randomly.
So
when I was watching the Cubs game, it was on, I think.
Cool.
I don't remember.
So I will say that there's one last thing I want to give our audience. We are Foodies Watching Movies, and I feel like we've not done a really good job of like giving like great cooking tips or anything. And I came up with a method on my own accord, and maybe someone else came up with it too, and I just have not stumbled upon that person. Oh, Jesus, I've hit the tray. That happened to me on episode 50 of Journey into Comics. So that was really bizarre.
Okay, what were you talking about?
So, sometimes in inclement weather, it's difficult to get your grill out. Sometimes you want to have grilled hot dogs.
Yes, this is what we had for dinner tonight.
You want to jam a delicious hot dog with some char on it.
Yeah.
You know? And that's difficult to do if you don't have a fire.
Yeah.
Or B, a place to put a fire.
Well, I can't stand microwave hot dogs. It's awful. And
Boiled
we don't
hot
like
dogs are not
boiling
that
hot
good.
dogs. We love grilling hot dogs because you get that like grill char mark on it. You can throw some barbecue sauce on it, and it's
So,
diggity dope.
I'm going to tell the people the best
Hot
way.
diggity dope.
Hot diggity dog dope. So I'm going to tell the people my little method to very easily and intelligently have grilled hot dogs in your house. So you're going to get a skillet, turn your fire on, put your skillet on the fire.
How hot?
You know,
was it on medium?
it was like at 8
Medium
of
heat?
10.
So it was on
medium
high.
It was medium high.
Medium high.
And then what
heat.
you're going to do is you're going to take some cooking spray. You could probably alternately use butter if you're really feeling it, but I think
don't know.
cooking spray would be better. I haven't tried
the
with
smoking
butter.
point on butter's dinner.
Yeah,
Different.
that's true. So cooking spray, spray the pan. Put all your hot dogs in it. Let them start to sizzle. You're going to hear it. It's a sound, okay? It is. It's very important that you know, the sound. They're going to dance
sizzling.
a little bit in the pan. They're going to be flopping around a little bit in the pan. You're going to just kind of move them around and just keep rotating them and let them just kind of turn on their own. As soon as you start the top sear, you want to, before you start any of the rotating, make sure to just coat the tops of those hot dogs with cooking spray again. It's going to give it a nice char throughout. It's going to cook really well. And then once you're done...
How long do you have to cook them?
I don't know,
How long
just
are they on?
until they're nice and charred.
Yeah.
You know,
You cooked them perfectly because they had some like bite to them, and they were really good.
You have to visually be able to see how charred you want them. Some people like really charred hot dogs, other people don't. I like it to
like
be
the cremators.
pockets of char. I don't want to eat a hot dog that's black.
Right.
You know,
You don't want one that's came straight from hell.
you know.
Same thing can be said for marshmallows.
Yes,
Yeah.
also true. I haven't tried that. Maybe that marshmallow trick that would work well.
I don't
with
know about.
marshmallows, too.
I don't know. on the,
That would melt.
I feel like you end up with like a
You need a
pan
broiler.
of marshmallow fluff.
That's okay.
Ooh, you know what I did do the other day that was awesome? I made boxed brownies from the store because my little kid wanted them. And then I took a bag of mini marshmallows and I put them on the brownies after I baked them and threw it under the broiler for like 2 minutes. And I made s'more brownies.
Yum.
They were delicious.
You left those with us.
Yes,
We
I
ate
did. I
some of
gave
them,
them
and I
to you.
smashed them so fast.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Turned
like
out really good.
They were like 8 brownies. I had 6.
That's a great tip too. If you want to elevate your brownies, just throw some marshmallows on it under the broiler and make s'mores.
And alternately, you could throw marshmallows on top
Of
and
cupcakes.
then on the brownies, and then crumble some graham, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
put it in
yeah.
the broiler to really
Definitely.
full blown elevate it. You know,
Yeah.
just going to the next level.
That is next level. Good
Of course
thinking,
it is.
Nate.
Well, that's my logic.
All right, well.
I think this was an amazing episode of Foodies Watching Movies. This is episode 3, even though it's technically our 4th episode. We did episode 0 to test and see what we thought about it.
Yeah.
It's great to have you back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy to be
I'm glad
back.
we did
Thank
this
you
for
making the
Halloween.
drive.
Yes.
We did a great Halloween episode. Hopefully Brando can get this up for us ASAP.
Yeah.
Like tonight, but if not, no biggie. This is a good retrospective episode. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we, leave the viewers?
No, I just hope everybody has a wonderful and happy and safe Halloween.
Watch out for,
Watch out for killer clowns in the creepy woods and shit.
candy apple and razor
Yeah,
blade.
check us out on Instagram. We keep posting pictures and stuff of things we're making and eating.
Foodies Watching Movies. Are you going to at some point do any live tweeting for films on the Foodies Twitter?
Yeah, I can. I'll
We just got to get you logged in, huh?
Yeah, get me logged in, make sure everything works there, and then I can just start getting approved movies. I can watch them and just live tweet the movie if you.
Sweet.
Because I watch a lot of movies in my spare time, so
absolutely cool with that, man.
I feel like you need to watch American Psycho. I
Live
feel like
tweet
you
my
both
thoughts.
do. Yeah.
I'd
Because
be
you
up
said
for-
you didn't think you've seen it, right?
I don't think I've seen it.
I can't believe it. Ugh.
There's certain movies that
we
are
need
like
to watch
sort of
that
like
tonight.
cult classics that I've
We've been
somehow
putting it
just
off
missed
long enough.
Their whole. We still need to see Fight Club. I guess I'll have yet to see that.
You haven't seen
You
Fight
haven't
Club
seen-
yet.
oh my
No.
God.
I still can't believe you haven't seen it. But that's okay, because didn't you say soon, or was it already? Did it already happen?
It's nowish.
Now
I think it was.
What
I think
is?
it was in October. Was
I'm
when it
confused.
had its
10-year.
Yeah.
Or 15-year.
Oh.
Yeah, or is it end of October? Around this time is when it had its premiere.
Well, you know what? Why don't we just go for the gold, and next episode we'll watch it before we do an episode, and then we'll talk about it.
I'd be
And we'll
up to
just
that.
cover Fight Club.
Cool.
And we'll have Fight Club, Foodie Club, and then we'll eat something and delicious.
First rule of Fight Club, Movie Club: don't talk about Fight Club.
That's what we're gonna say to the whole episode. First
supposed
rule
to be
about
talking
this
about it.
movie is we're not supposed to fucking talk about it, and
But
then we're
we
just
are.
gonna shut the episode off.
Just kidding.
30 seconds. Oh, we're just kidding. We're back.
All right. Well, that was fun.
It was fun, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for
Hey,
being
yes.
here today.
Good to always talk with you both. It was great to have
You
some
too.
food together.
Yes, definitely.
Watch. What do we watch? Oh, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Check that out. It was
Yeah,
fun.
that was excellent. Also, check out Slither. Just putting it out there
any
again.
of the movies we mentioned today. You
Yes.
should probably
Yeah.
watch.
And
Check 'em
sometimes
out.
just browse Netflix and look at those weird movies that you've probably never seen. Sometimes there's some hidden gems.
Yeah, there's
And
always some good
those
hidden gems.
sometimes indie scary movies are the best scary
Time
movies.
lapse.
Is there any recommendations of like hidden gems that we want to challenge each other to watch for next time? Before next time? Like, do you have a pick that you think that we should watch before our next podcast? I'm saying right now, American Psycho. You both need to watch that movie.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
I'll watch it.
That's your challenge, gentlemen.
Sure. Can you guys go documentary style for me?
Yeah.
Will you guys watch the Barkley marathons? It's so good.
Yeah, I can do that.
It's Netflix.
Barkley
Okay.
marathons.
Yeah. So
Just text me and remind me what the title is, and I will look that up.
cool.
So now we have homework.
We
What
do.
about you? Do you have a hidden
Oh.
gem you think we should watch before our next show?
I think 2 is plenty for right now, but I'll have one for next
For the
time.
next one?
Okay.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so you have your assignment.
That's actually kind of awesome because right now, like, she picked American Psycho. Both of us have not seen it. We know we haven't pretty much seen it. I picked Barkley Marathons. Both of you haven't seen it. I know you haven't seen it, so
So next we'll have one that you guys haven't seen, and it'll be
good. I'm
we'll
excited.
Be all right.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, guys, this was Foodies Watching Movies, episode number 3. I'm Nate.
I'm Veronica.
I'm Andrew.
We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.